welcome to Weekends with Whitney. Coming up in today's show, a capital city holiday tradition, only days away, the Nutcracker, A Tale from the Bayou. For decades, the Baton Rouge Ballet has delighted audiences with its Louisiana fantasy. See what's new this year. Then Dr. Nick shows us how to get more joy out of every day.
I almost, Whitney, feel like we need to approach it from the opposite, meaning we might come to understand what joy is and have more of it if we reflect on what was not enjoyable.
But first, this year's production of the Nutcracker will be on a different stage and contain exciting new elements, but its core remains steeped in tradition. For more than a quarter century, thousands of dancers under the direction of Sharon Matthews and Molly Buckman bring magic to the stage for Christmas. This year, dancers Anna and Ivy got the coveted role of Clara. I asked them to interview each other about it.
I was really excited and I was really thankful that I got the role. I thought it was a dream. I didn't think it was real life, so it was a role I've been wanting for a long time. I was really happy.
I was very shocked in a way, but then it felt like a dream. And then it sunk in a couple weeks later, and I just started to cry because I was just so happy and thankful. It was my dream, basically.
They've worked their way up.
I started when I was 7 years old or 6, and I was a lamb that year, and I think we were cherubs together.
Yeah, I think so. I remember you.
And then you were a mouse, and then we were party children together. Yeah. And then I remember Bonbon. It was really fun.
Yes, last year I was a Bonbon, and I just remember having so much fun with you and all of our friends, and just getting to have fun and just be together and bond. That was just one of my favorite memories.
Rene Stelzer first danced in this production when she was 8. She's been a lamb, a bonbon, an angel, and a dancer in Snow and Flowers. Now in her 30s, she's in it again.
It's just such a wonderful thing to be part of. It doesn't feel like Christmas without the Nutcracker. I know I won't be able to dance in it forever, so I do it because I can still. They let me. I would love to do it for as long as I can.
Artistic director Molly Buckman says roles are cast on talent.
If someone gets a part, it is always going to be because we believe they were the best person for that part, for no other reason.
You don't play favorites?
Well, people would think we do, but our favorites are the ones for the best.
Because the audience deserves nothing less.
I always have a responsibility to the art. The responsibility is not to the parent or to the child, but to the art. Do the best I can to help them become artists, to do the best I can to put something artful on the stage, to put the best thing on the stage for the audience.
This audience gets a Nutcracker like no other. Molly and Sharon gave one of the world's most beloved ballets, Louisiana Luster. Backdrops of a cabin on the bayou, the old state capitol, and Oak Alley Plantation. From the choreography to the costumes, it's uniquely Louisiana.
We love the big full production. It's called the Nutcracker A Tale from the Bayou, and sometimes people call saying, I don't want this little Nutcracker, I want the big grand Nutcracker. And we say that's what this is. We wanted to make something really big and lasting for Baton Rouge.
This year will be like no other. The River Center Theater for the Performing Arts is undergoing an $18 million redesign, so the stage for this year's Nutcracker will move next door to the Raising Cane's River Center Arena. Baton Rouge Ballet Theater Communications Director Christine Perkins says it brings challenges and opportunities.
We can't use the sets that were specifically designed for this performance about 27 years ago. About a year and a half ago, the creative geniuses got together and started trying to design ways to overcome the problems of having no backdrops. So, so right now we have an artist, Andre Chapoy, who is creating these beautiful designs and projections, animated projections, so it'll be dynamic in ways that a traditional set isn't.
Yet it'll still be very familiar.
They're all inspired by the original designs of Nels Anderson. It'll look very much like what we're used to, but there will still be snow. There will still be the old state capitol. So much of it will look similar, but just vibrant and colorful.
It'll bring extra magic, too.
In a lot of ways, it's going to be very interesting to watch. New magic has been ordered, and some of our, one of our favorite performers, Leonard Augustus, is very pleased with some of his new magic tricks that he gets to bring to the audience this year.
The audience also gets a different view.
There's several hundred more seats available, and it's stadium-style seating, so I'm sure I never can see in front of me, but in this case, you'll never have a tall head in front of you. And so your view will be unobstructed.
You'll get to hear and see the Baton Rouge Symphony, too.
They'll be the only ones seated on the ground, other than handicap seating. But so the audience will even be able to see the orchestra perform. That's something that you don't get to see in the ballet. They're always hidden in the orchestra pit. So it'll be kind of an interesting observation there too, to see how the symphony and the ballet work hand in hand.
This is a chance for someone to see live music and live theater and dance all in one event and get the Christmas spirit and all of that at once. I always say it's like a window into the arts when you're young, because you go to it, it's big and beautiful.
It's good training for the dancers, too.
For a dancer, it's really wonderful to have the experience of dancing with live music, because it really keeps you, I hate to say it, on your toes, but it really makes you think quickly, and you never know the speed. Maybe the orchestra will speed up or slow down, or it'll sound different than what you've been rehearsing to for many months, and so you'll have to know how to quickly adjust and stay on the music and adapt.
Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite premiered in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1892. It wasn't until 50 years later that it first was performed in the U.S., but it was George Balanchine's version for the New York City Ballet that sent its popularity soaring, and ballet companies everywhere solvent.
So many companies in America, in the United States, do the Nutcracker, and it is the mainstay of their season. It's what really pulls in box office and helps you pay for your organization to operate all year long and do all the other things it does, like go into the community and to the schools and serve so many people and help this next generation of dancers as well. The Nutcracker doesn't pay for all that, but it helps support itself, and it helps keep us on a sound financial footing so that we can do all the things that we do.
They're flying in guest artists Alison Stroming from Dance Theatre of Harlem and Aaron Smith from Australia. Aaron's also on the big screen this season, dancing in the new Disney movie, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
He's been with Royal Ballet in London and with American Ballet Theatre, and people know him from the Australian So You Think You Can Dance. He was here 2 years ago, and when we announced he was coming back this year at the board meeting, there were a lot of people who were, who were clapping. They like him. They think he's cute. He's really a beautiful dancer and a good partner for Allison.
Sharing a stage with the pros expands young dancers' horizons.
What would be your dream dance job?
Oh, I would probably want to dance in the American Ballet Theater.
Ooh.
But in the Nutcracker, I really want to be Arabian or Azalea Fairy.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I would think I would be Spanish, Marzipan, and Azalea. Azalea is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
It even gives adults who don't dance a boost of confidence. Baton Rouge Ballet board member Jonathan Taylor joined the cast last year as a waltzing party parent.
I love the ballet, and it was a chance to do something outside of my normal activities. It was lots of fun. The party family really becomes a family. We all become friends. We have fun practicing together.
Admittedly, he needed the practice.
Not being a dancer definitely was difficult. Waltzing is not something I do every day. And then the fact of being on stage it's a feeling like nothing else in the world. It's definitely different.
Were you nervous?
Every day. But it became more fun.
So fun, he's back this year. So what made you decide, okay, I'm going to jump in again? Because it is a time commitment.
It definitely is a time commitment. We practice every week for several months, but it's worth it. It's fun. It's fun, and it's good to give back.
It's exceeded expectations. And did you ever think it would be all of this?
No. No, I didn't.
Not bad for two dancers who met at LSU and opened their studio in their 20s.
No one works harder than Sharon, and always has.
They've now been in the ballet business 40 years.
I meant to stay only 40 years.
Well, what happened? Did you lose count?
I don't know what happened. I forgot to count the last couple of years.
Together, they've helped thousands bloom into accomplished artists and live their dreams. Some have gone on to Juilliard, performed on Broadway, and danced their way around the world.
I'm proud of what we've done. I'm happy for the dancers who have had a place to dance. And like Molly Rushing and Whitney Dufresne and all these people who've gone on to do things. You know, I'm proud we were able to give them that.
Dancing gives everyone something.
Some will go on and become dancers, most will not. But they will have developed this incredible skill, this love of this classical art, classical music, this ability to work together as a team, as a group, this ability to present yourself, to get on stage and, you know, take the focus and be comfortable with it. These are things that will help them in everything they do. 300
dancers, ages 8 to 80, will hit the stage next weekend.
How hard are rehearsals?
Well, like rehearsals are like really time consuming and it requires a lot of dedication because it's really fun, but sometimes we have to get corrections. It's part of the process. And on Sundays we probably have around 7 hours of rehearsal. Saturday we have probably 5 to 6 hours, and we have class right before that. So it's really hard. And probably Mondays, we don't really rehearse that much, but when it comes to the week before, we have probably every day from 4 to 9, like after a school night, which is really exhausting. So,
and we have to find time for homework on top of all of that.
And we have exams right after.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
That's very hard, balancing and like deciding, oh, should I do dance over the Nutcracker, which I choose Nutcracker a lot more than school, you know. But
I choose school.
Are you okay, Mom?
We're coming really close to the show. What do you think we have to work on the most to become the best Clara we can be?
I would say the lifts, because that's very important.
Yeah.
Because we basically get lifted over the men's head, the Nutcracker, the chef, and so we have to trust in them, trust in ourselves that we can do it, and just look beautiful while doing it.
And they're saving a seat for you.
We always have seats. Sometimes people think we're sold out, but there are always seats left.
And there is always snow.
on the stage and in the audience. What could be more magical for our little Louisiana Clara than a snowy oak alley in snow?
There are 4 performances that will be held this Saturday and Sunday, December 15th and 16th at 2 and 6 p.m. To get tickets, you can go to Ticketmaster or contact the Baton Rouge Ballet. But no, those are the only 2 authorized sites available. And still ahead, Dr. Nick shows us how to put more joy in our lives as Weekend with Whitney continues.
Each morning in Baton Rouge, we rise to meet opportunity. We carry the weight of responsibility proudly. We choose our paths. We move fast and we fly high. We light the way for others to follow. We make it happen. But what really matters is what happens when we land at home. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport. Fly easy.
Louisiana's Old State Capitol educates the public on Louisiana's rich history and the democratic process through exhibits, programming, and the arts. The museum is dedicated to advancing the collection and preserving this national historic landmark. Visit LouisianaOldStateCapitol.org.
Joy. It is that feeling that we seem to never be able to get enough of. Dr. Nick joins us with more. How do we get more joy? Good morning.
Yeah, I just love reflecting on words, you know, and I think joy is an interesting experience in life. And I almost, Whitney, feel like we need to approach it from the opposite, meaning we might come to understand what joy is and have more of it if we reflect on what was not enjoyable.
Sure.
You almost come at it not from a negative, but from what it's not. And I know that we've all been in situations and we've had experiences where if we're honest with ourselves, we'll say, I didn't really enjoy that very much. I didn't get much joy out of that. And then we reflect on experiences and situations where the joy was just so natural and felt so uplifted.
Yes, and sometimes it's just abounding. I mean, it's just
abounding.
It's like it's just coming at you.
And what is greater than a compliment of I really enjoyed myself last night, or I enjoyed our visit, or I enjoyed going to work. And again, people will say, oh, well, you know what, how can I ever have joy at work, or I'm just not a very joyful person. And I don't know that that should be so conclusive. I think all of us really have an instinctive urge towards joy. I was thinking this morning, you know what my best sometimes sample of joy is?
What is?
Smile. Just to greet someone with a smile, to enter a situation with a smile. Doesn't a smile convey joy?
Absolutely.
It doesn't necessarily convey that I'm jumping up and down, but life is good. We smile.
It's an internal thing.
I think I like to smile especially when I'm greeting someone.
Right, and that is a share of joy between two people for sure.
Yes.
But what about those people in those moments that really steal your joy?
Well, I think we have to distinguish what's a theft.
Okay.
And not everything in life is going to be enjoyable.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that the other person or the situation is bad. We're going to have gray skies. We're going to suffer. We're going to experience moments of deep sadness and grief and perhaps anger. That, I think, is fine.
Yes.
Right? We chew on it a little bit and then we say, okay, my father's dead, but I know that he wants me to enjoy life.
Sure.
Okay. Now, what you're raising is that question of why is it that we feel like some people can steal our joy,
right,
or that we give it away, or that we're almost like vampired, huh? We feel like we've been drained, or I didn't like that feeling.
Right.
That's a more difficult one, because I don't think we want to make a judgment or blame or put down or discount the other person, but we sure need to be aware of the energy.
And maybe that's more accurate. But I can tell you that I've walked into a room or a situation, maybe it's just one-on-one person, and I'm walking on sunshine and everything's gone great that day, and they just seem to knock down the pillars of joy in my life one after another. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's so heartbreaking, because I'm like,
it is.
I was really good before I saw you.
It really is. And I remember telling someone not long ago, I said, this has really been tough. I'm not feeling real good right now.
Is that what you meant?
And that person looked at me, he said, well, that's your problem. It's not mine. And I kind of was like, well, maybe I do need to think about how secure I am in my joy.
Right. Or maybe I should have walked away a minute ago.
Maybe I really should have said, excuse me, I need to go get some water.
I see what this is about. I'm out of here.
Which, again, is not necessarily at all a judgment on the other person. It's just like, I need to step away from this particular heat or this energy drain.
Yes.
Because I want to be joyful. I've heard people say, I'm not letting her or him steal my joy. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with that.
Right.
I have a little
perhaps
bit of an
it's
issue.
not possible for them to steal it.
That's where I think we need to be discerning.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost, am I giving that person too much power over me? Or maybe that person really does have a whole lot of power over me. And I need to really look at how I might grow from it. Not every encounter can have an upside to it.
Sure.
So I don't want to go and knock it. I just know that one of the struggles between joy is what's not enjoyable and what's not. And I think we really do need to reflect on which is which.
Which is which.
And do our very best to make something enjoyable.
Yes, yes. It's funny, somebody was asking me about John Pasternak the other day, and he and I did the morning show together for years, and I'm telling you, that is someone who every day greeted the day with joy.
Every day.
I rarely
absolutely right.
ever saw him, he wasn't joyful. And it was delightful to work with someone like that.
Yes.
And where does it come from?
Yes.
I mean, he has so much of it.
Yeah.
I think he has more than I do.
Well, I would be willing to say that some of it really is environmental. I'd love to know his parents.
Oh, yeah.
And the people. I don't want to talk about John, but I mean, I just think that it'd be interesting to interview him one of these days and find out, because I bet he grew up in a smiling home and in a joyful home.
Yeah. So for people who didn't. How do they find a robust sense of joy?
Well, I think the only answer I could really honestly give is to begin to create moments and experiences that give it. Really look for what's going to give me joy. It's about my life. Remember, we can't be blaming forever.
Right.
So and part of it too, Whitney, is a commitment to I want to be. I want to have more joy in my life. I want for life to be joyful. Yesterday's gone. It won't come back. I have today. What can I do today to make it more joyful? I love when I can see a client just laugh a little bit, and I catch it. It's like, I got a little laugh out of you.
Absolutely.
I stole a little joy out of you, meaning I didn't steal it, but I got it.
Yes.
Good, I got it. See, it is there. It is there. And getting people to talk about things that they love, and it's like, wow, that really, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
That was so enjoyable. I let this overshadow the joy.
I love how people start their day with something that gives them joy. For instance, a friend of mine always starts with 30 minutes of music every day. Music and meditation. And then I was talking to Jenny Ballard yesterday, and she said she starts every day 30 minutes of reading. And she said it always gets her day off beautifully. And she's not reading the news, she's reading a book, she's reading
maybe
for
a
enjoyment.
novel or something.
Yes.
But it's something that's giving her joy. Yeah, I caught early this morning this little girl that did the national anthem, like 6 or 7 years old.
Yes.
And I was just smiling from ear to ear. And I thought, what a great way to begin the day. I was just smiling from ear to ear. Because we do really feed each other. We're not in a vacuum. So it is important for us to think about who we associate with.
Right.
You know, and how we can maybe at least say, gosh, I need to be around people who are joyful.
Right.
I think we've got a lot of joy. I have my down moments.
I think we do have a lot. I think that's why we enjoy each other.
But I love to laugh and cut up and play and just have fun.
Absolutely.
Have fun like a little kid.
And it is a choice.
It is a choice.
And so today, let's choose joy.
Joy and enjoy.
Thanks, Dr. Nick. More Weekends with Whitney after this. Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees.
Louisiana's Old State Capitol educates the public on Louisiana's rich history and the democratic process through exhibits, programming, and the arts. The museum is dedicated to advancing the collection and preserving this national historic landmark. Visit LouisianaOldStateCapitol.org.
Discover your art of living at Dixon Smith Interiors. With 10,000 square feet of inspired interiors, it's easy to bring beauty home. Create a unique interior that reflects your exterior. Translate what you love into where you live. For 60 years, Dixon Smith has refined the art of style, space, and comfort. You're a work of art. Your home should be too. Embrace your art of living at Dixon Smith Interiors in the heart of Baton Rouge. Discover Dixon. Thanks for sharing your time with us here on Weekends with Whitney. We hope to see you back here again next week. But until then, we leave you with this.
How did you? Can you ask it first?